This is a paid Kickstarter preview for the Shattered Hell Kickstarter campaign from Crippled God Foundry. Hello and welcome back to The Gallant Goblin. Today we have a paid Kickstarter preview to share with you. For information about how we handle Kickstarter previews, please take a look at the video description down below. Today's Kickstarter is all about hell-inspired minis. If you're playing a campaign like Descent into Avernus, or any campaign that visits the Abyss or the Nine Hells, or just deals with a demon or devil infestation, this Kickstarter is something you're going to want to check out. You'll be able to pick up straight-up resin minis, or if you have a 3D printer at home, you can just purchase the printable file to make them at home. The Kickstarter also features everything from PC minis up to a giant 5-headed dragon. They sent us a few samples to share with you today, so let's jump in and take a closer look. The minis arrived in these little plastic baggies. You do have to do a little bit of assembly, but these were just about the easiest minis I've ever had to put together. The arms and legs are made to slot in at just the correct angle, and as you can see, a lot of the pieces fit together without even having to use any glue, but you'll probably want to dab a little bit of super glue on there to make sure they stay together. Let's take a look at a few of the hero minis first. I am going to butcher some of these names, which is ironic because my own first name is Greek in origin, but here we go. This is Hephaestia. She could be used as a dwarf, halfling, or gnome, and probably a caster of some sort. She looks to me like a druid or maybe even a ranger. She has her staff at the ready and all her adventuring supplies safely tucked into her backpack. She could even be an artificer with a lot of tricks stuffed away in that backpack. Just like all the minis in this set, there are a lot of little details that you can bring out when you paint it. Next we have Seator, a wizened, nature-loving druid perhaps, as evidenced by the little bird companion in his hand and his Keyleth-style antlers. Or perhaps he's a wizard, and the little bird is his familiar. You'll notice that he's eschewed his shoes, so maybe he's even a ranger who feels very much at home wandering the forest floors in his bare feet. And this is Apollonor, who has an amazing come-at-me pose. He's armed with a bow, a glaive, and has a short sword and a quiver on his back. While his six-pack may not be particularly well armored, his shoulders are very much protected. This is a very cool character mini who'd work as a fighter, ranger, or even a combat-focused druid perhaps. Let's compare these minis to some of our WizKids painted minis. You can see how detailed the sculpts are, but be aware that the humans appear to be at a slightly larger scale. The dwarf figures match up pretty well though. While they're down on your gaming table, the difference really isn't that apparent. We'll show you all the minis down on some Dwarven Forge terrain shortly so you can see what I mean. One thing that's nice if you're getting these as the 3D printing files is that you can adjust the scaling yourself, so you can reduce or increase the size of your minis to match whatever minis are already in your collection. Now let's look at some of our devils and demons. First we have a bug-faced creature named Acanthos, the Ender of Spring. This figure resembles an ice devil from 5e lore. Ice devils are very powerful commanders of devil armies. This figure has all sorts of dangerous protrusions coming off its carapace and carries a nasty-looking double-bladed staff, so adventurers can expect some heavy damage from this fellow. Here you can see him next to the Ice Devil mini from the Pathfinder Battles Maze of Death set, and the Legion Ice Devil from Icons of the Realms Descent into Avernus. Next we have Cassidiatropus, the Snapper of Jaws. This scary beast resembles a Glabrezu demon with its lobster-like claws and the off-putting little arms coming out of its chest. Glabrezus aren't just dangerous in battle, but are very intelligent and cunning fiends who like to tempt victims into ruin with promises of wealth and power. And that mouth makes me think of a xenomorph from Alien. Here you can see him next to the Glabrezu mini from the Icons of the Realms Descent into Avernus set. Next we have one just named Hades, Lord of the World Below. I think this mini would be perfect to use for any number of Archdevils from existing lore, or one of your own creation. There are a large number of Archdevils in the lore, from Despater to Mephistopheles, to Asmodeus, chief of the Lords of the Nine. But if you want to design your own arc villain for your adventures, this is a great mini to use for that purpose, assuming you don't mind having him walking around on a bunch of naked bodies. Finally, we have Ashvestos, the Pyre Eternal. This fellow is the spitting image of a Balor with his longsword and whip. You could probably also use this mini to represent Bel, another archdevil from the Nine Hells, who has recently been butting heads with Zariel in Avernus. With his powerful flaming greatsword and strong innate magical powers, Bel is one of the strongest enemies you can throw at your party. Here you can see him next to the Balor mini from Icons of the Realm's Dungeon of the Mad Mage. They also offer up a pre-printable Goatman file to check out how they print on your home 3D printer. I loaded it into my To-Do-Box software and printed it out using my Elegoo Mars 3D printer. It comes pre-supported, so all you have to do is scale it up or down if you like, and then decide how many you want to print at once. It printed in 2 pieces, and it's an easy process to attach the arms to the body. You can visit the Kickstarter now to download and print up as many Goatmen as you like. Let's take a look at what else they have available on the Kickstarter. Assuming they reach all their stretch goals, they'll have more than 50 original sculpts to choose from. Here's their collection of hero minis, featuring a variety of classes and races. I particularly enjoy the inclusion of the Centaur there, as well as a fellow who bears a strong resemblance to a Warforged. Next, they have a collection of minion creatures they call the Denizens of Hell. Those are the Goatmen, Gnolls, Devilish Warriors, and 4-armed Hell Amazons. Next is the large-size creatures. These are great mid-bosses. They call the set Champions of Darkness. You can see a lot of these resemble classic D&D creatures like Meriliths, Aaron-Yesses, and Khazmi demons, plus some fallen angels and other fiends of their own design. I personally really like that fallen angel they called Bradamante the Disgraced. Next, we have our Rulers of the Underworld. 2 of these you've already seen. You've also got Tromos the Terror Untold and Phobos the Quencher of Light, who would work well, I think, as a pit fiend maybe? These are huge size minis. And finally, we have the Ancient Ones, including Echidna, the 5-headed dragon, known as the Mother of Monsters. Certainly a mini you can use for Tiamat. They've also already unlocked quite a few stretch goals, adding more minis to different collections. The more money they raise, the more minis you get for your pledge. They also have a handy-dandy size chart, so you can compare the sizes of all the minis in the campaign, from that little gnome figure all the way up to the 5-headed dragon. And in case you're not familiar with Kickstarter itself, it's a website where creators can turn their dream projects into reality by securing funding from backers before the product is fully completed. There's always some level of risk involved in backing a Kickstarter, and I will always make sure that there aren't any red flags before I present a Kickstarter to you. I won't show you any that I wouldn't back myself, but it's always worth reading through the description and just making sure that you're comfortable with the team before pledging your money. In the case of Crippled God Foundry, they've already successfully fulfilled a Kickstarter campaign in the past, and they're a pretty well-established company anyway. So for this Kickstarter, there are a number of different tiers you can pledge at, and there will be a pledge manager after the Kickstarter if you want to add on or customize your pledge even more. You just have to pledge something before the Kickstarter ends to gain access to it. If you want just the STL files to use on your own home 3D printer, you can pledge 25 euros, or about $29, to gain access to the medium-sized Hero and Denizens of Hell mini files, or 40 euros to purchase the large and huge-sized Champions of Darkness and Rulers of the Underworld figure files, or 70 euros to gain access to all the STL files for all the minis in the campaign. If you want the actual unpainted resin figures shipped to your door, you have a lot of options to pick and choose what you want. Everything from 6 euros for one hero of your choice, up to 288 euros for all the minis in this collection. And a lot of options in between to get just the sets you want. Now, if you want all the minis pre-painted by hand, they have a pledge for that as well, but it'll run you 750 euros. But keep in mind, that does include a hand-painted 5-headed dragon. You can also add on minis from their previous Kickstarter campaign called The Curse of Hollow Hills, which feature traditional fantasy heroes and villains, including all sorts of undead creatures. So you have a lot of options to pick and choose a pledge level that will get you exactly the minis that you want in the format you want. As with all Kickstarters, fulfillment won't take place right away. They're expected to deliver their 3D printable files in January and February of 2021, and their physical resin miniatures around August 2021. I know a lot of you live in Europe, so I'm happy to say that the Shattered Hell project is EU friendly, meaning that the rewards bound for the EU will ship from within the EU, so there won't be any surprise extra customs charges. And that's the Shattered Hell Kickstarter from Crippled God Foundry. If you do like what you see from them, you can also click through to their creator page on Kickstarter, where you can click the big follow button there to be notified when they launch future projects. If you have any questions at all about Shattered Hell or Kickstarter in general, please leave them for me in the comments section down below. Here at The Gallant Goblin, our home base is YouTube, but you can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. For now, stay safe, have fun, love each other, and I'll see you next time at The Gallant Goblin.